Hey everybody and welcome to another Master Duel video. In today's decklist we're gonna take a look at the Vortex of Magic structure deck and what we can do with this structure deck. And then we're gonna take a look at a upgrade path that we can take with the deck, because we can take this deck in a lot of different directions. So I have a more upgraded, fully built deck list ready so you guys can see what we can do. Now, the Vortex of Magic structure deck of course revolves around the ever iconic Dark Magician. And most of these cards are from the structure deck. So I'm not gonna go too deep into it, as the deck isn't really that complicated. We have some lines, but no real long combos. One of our main lines is Illusion of Chaos to search out Magician's Soul, then activating its effect to send itself and a Dark Magician to the graveyard to summon out a Dark Magician. And that is about as complicated as our lines are gonna get in this deck. So I'm just gonna quickly cover what I've added in the deck and why, and then most of the cards you're just gonna find in your structure deck, and it's gonna be quite self-explanatory really. So we have the Dark Magicians. Droll and Lockbird is of course a very useful hand trap, and I put it in here because it's cheap and it's a secret rare, so why not? Magician's Soul, as I've covered. Magician's Rod can search on normal summon. Ash Blossom, because we get it for free from the bundle. Dark Magician Girl, because we have effects that either need it or want it to special summon it out on the field or get another Dark Magician on the field. Timaeus allows us to fusion summon and go into cards like the Dragon Knight, which is very good because it's both a Dark Magician while on the field and it protects our spell and trap cards. Illusion of Chaos I covered quickly. Raigeki, Monster Reborn, Dark Magic Attack. Magic Attack is searchable and allows us to Harpies Feather Duster our opponent as long as we control a Dark Magician, which is for this deck quite easy to set up. Preparation of Rites allows us to search out our Illusion of Chaos, so it's just a generally good consistency card. Lightning Storm, because it's good. And then we have some spice. Secret Village of the Spellcaster. If only you control a Spellcaster monster, your opponent cannot activate spell cards. Now, that is going to shut down most runic decks, just straight up. Because they can't use their spell cards, and it's gonna be annoying for a lot of other decks to deal with as well. So it's a fun card and we can play it, so why not? Magician's Salvation searches Eternal Soul. Dark Magical Circle allows us to look at the top 3 cards of our deck, and if one of them is a Dark Magician or a spell trap that mentions it, we get to add it. And when we summon a Dark Magician, we can target a card on the field and banish it. So it's interaction because we have a lot of ways to summon Dark Magicians on our opponent's turn. Soul Servant allows us to banish it and then draw cards equal to the number of Dark Magicians or Dark Magician Girls with different names on the field and in the graveyard. And it allows us to stack a Dark Magician or a card that mentions it on the top of our deck for our Dark Magician Circle's search, which is of course very good. Secrets of Dark Magic is our poly for the deck. Pretty much it. Forbidden Droplet for obvious reasons, same with Imperm and Judgment, and then 2 Skill Drain. Skill Drain is one of our win conditions. Being able to establish a Skill Drain with a Eternal Soul out and a Dark Magician means that we have an unaffected Dark Magician and their monster effects can't be activated. It's very good. Eternal Soul not only makes every Dark Magician in your monster zone unaffected by your opponent's card effects, it also allows us to special summon a Dark Magician from our hand or graveyard and search out our archetype Harpies Feather Duster. It's a very good card and searchable of Magician's Salvation. It does have a drawback, where if this card leaves the field, destroy all monsters you control. But we can protect that with the Dragon Knight, which says your opponent cannot target spell traps you control with card effects, and they can't be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. And it also gains the protection from the Eternal Soul itself, because it considers itself a Dark Magician while on the field. Finally, we have Magician's Combination. You can tribute one Dark Magician or a girl, special summon a Dark Magician or a girl from your hand or graveyard with a different name than the tributed monster, and if you do, we can negate an activated effect from our opponent. Then it floats, or it pops when destroyed, and that's pretty much it. That's gonna do it for the main deck. Gonna quickly cover the extra deck here. Dark Magician Girl in case we open with a Timaeus and a girl, and it has a quick effect pop. Dark Magician the Dragon Knight, of course, I covered earlier. It provides spell trap protection. The Dark Magicians, once per turn, if a spell trap or effect is activated, you get to draw a card. If it's a spell or trap card, we get to set it, and if it's a trap card or a quick effect, we can activate it the same turn. Then, if it's destroyed, we can special summon both a Dark Magician and a Dark Magician Girl from basically anywhere, unless it's banished. And that is one of the main reasons why we run Dark Magician Girl, instead of just more Dark Magicians. Master of Chaos can be fusion summoned using a Dark Magician and a Illusion of Chaos, and then allows us to summon back one of those monsters. And then we contribute a Light and a Dark to banish all monsters our opponent controls, which of course is a very strong effect. Then, if it's destroyed, you can target a spell in your graveyard and add it to your hand, meaning we can recycle our fusion or any of our other spells. Quintet Magician, because it's big, it's 4500, and if it's fusion summoned using 5 spellcaster monsters with different names, you can destroy all cards your opponent controls. And it can't be tributed, it can't be used as fusion material, and it can't be destroyed, meaning it's protected from kaijus, super polys, and a lot of different ways of destruction. Then we have the Links, Link Spider, Imdak, and Artemis, just to have Link once. Barricade Borg blockers here, to be able to pick up a Secret Village or Magical Salvation if they would be destroyed. Geonator Transverser, because it's a hilarious card allowing you to switch control of monsters from your side of the field and your opponent's side of the field. Dark, because, well, it's a dark. We play a ton of darks, and we can steal our opponent's DPE, for example, or anything else that they have in their graveyard, and it allows us to search out stuff from our deck. It's just generally good. Power Code Talker is a negate for a turn, and it's a Link 3, meaning we can use its effect and then climb on into, for example, a Boral Guard Dragon. It's protected from destruction. It allows us to send a card from our spell and trap zone to the graveyard and special summon from either graveyard to your field one monster that was destroyed and sent there this turn, but negate its effect. The negation doesn't really matter if we're looking to grab up a Dark Magician to fusion summon with. And Darkness Metal here does essentially the same thing, but it also has the restriction where you can't special summon Link monsters for the rest of the turn. But that doesn't really matter again, because we're a semi-fusion focused deck. And that is gonna wrap up the extra deck. Now we're gonna take a look at the upgraded deck and see what we can do with this base. So, here we have the upgraded deck list. It is a branded Dark Magician deck. And first things first is just throw in the ultra rare staples in Maxi, Super Poly, Called by the Grave, and Ash Blossom. Then we have the branded engine in here in the form of 2 Fallen of Albas, 2 Aliber, and 3 branded fusion. Because we are a fusion deck, it makes sense to try to include more fusion powered stuff in the deck. And with that, because both Fallen of Albas and Super Polymerization are basically the same card, just Albas has legs and Super Poly can't be responded to, we play the usual suspects in the way of Mud Dragon, Starving Venom Fusion Dragon, and Drago Stapelia. Then we play the Dragon Knight, for the obvious reasons I explained earlier. It protects our spell traps. The Dark Magician for draw and just interaction. Same thing with the Master of Chaos. Then we run the little branded engine in here, the Albion the Branded Dragon, Mirror Jade, and Lubellion, of course. Still keeping with Imdak and Artemis for our Link 1s, but Predaplant Verti Anaconda is of course in here for our Link 2, as it can allow us to use branded fusion from anywhere. Dark is still in here for the same reasons. And then we have Selene. If this card is link summon, place spell counters on this card, equal to the number of spells on the field and in the graveyard. And then, once per turn, during main phase, you can remove 3 spell counters from your field, special summon 1 spellcaster monster from your hand or graveyard in defense position to your zone this card points to. So if we have 3 spell counters on it, we can instantly go into access code. And that's basically why it's there, it's just an access code accessor. So yeah, you can put in branded in here. I think there's probably a lot else you can do with this deck too. Maybe put in the adventure engine, just about anything really. It's quite pliable, but I think the fusion of the decks really makes sense. So we're gonna jump back to the basic budget version and we're gonna take a look at how a first turn could look with that deck. I'll see you soon. Alright, so this is gonna be a test hand with the Dark Magician budget deck. Starting here with prep, gonna grab us up a Illusion of Chaos. Can then activate its effect to add a Magician's Soul to our hand. Can then toss back this Preparation of Rites, as we don't really need it. Activate Magician's Soul, sending itself and a Dark Magician to the graveyard. And then we can special summon up the Dark Magician. And that is basically going to be it. We could link here, but there's no real point in it. Hopefully with a Judgment and a Skill Drain we can prevent our opponent from doing much. But as you can see, the deck doesn't really have these long-winded combo lines. Had we drawn a fusion spell here, we could have gone into a basic fusion summon, like a Master of Chaos, potentially a Dark Magicians, or maybe a Dragon Knight, depending on what we draw. But generally, this is how a first turn is going to look with the deck, unless we draw extremely well. So yeah, that's just gonna be really quickly, because the deck is, in its budget variant, isn't very complicated. But with the branded variant, you could see much longer combo lines opening with a Mirror Jade and potentially like a Dark Magician, so you can draw and set and do a number of things during your opponent's turn, which is quite nice. Like the Dark Magicians could pull up a Super Poly, which you could then set and activate on the same turn, allowing for more interruption. But yeah. I'll wrap up with my final thoughts and telling you guys to like and subscribe in just 1 second. So the structure deck itself doesn't really create a very powerful deck, just in and of itself, but it does allow for easy building into like any other variant of Dark Magician you would like to play. This deck is of course not very meta, it's maybe rogue tier, but the Magician's Souls being included in the structure deck, as well as the Illusion of Chaos, those cards are actually used in a number of combo decks, like Spiral, for example. I know uses Magician's Soul. I haven't checked with the updated lists of since the release of Illusion of Chaos, but I imagine that they run that as well. So, if you love Dark Magician, go for the structure deck, but there isn't really any other reason, unless you're building a deck that needs the Magician's Soul and the Illusion of Chaos, to buy it. It's not ever going to be the most meta fierce deck. It's never really going to overtake things like Sprite or Runic, Math Mech or Branded. But still, as a nostalgia trip or for the event, this deck could be a lot of fun. And hey, why not? It's not very expensive to make. It's only like 1500 gems. You get double that from the recent event. So yeah, check it out. Leave a comment if there's anything you would want to change with the deck. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and subscribe for more upcoming deck lists in the future. With the release of these recent cards that have come out, I have a ton of ideas for new decks. So I'll see you guys soon. Take care. Bye.